Welcome friends to this second part of the second day of our 3-day program in Corfu. I'm very happy to see all of you here again, and during the time I've spent here, I'm getting more and more convinced that we are sitting on a very holy land in this island of Corfu, and there has been great spiritual tradition over here, and looks like it's a revival. And there's going to be revival of spirituality once again, so that the old blessings of the saints and mystics who came to Greece and came to this island is like a prophecy being fulfilled. So I'm very happy to get this chance to visit Corfu and Greece. I have been talking to you since yesterday about the method of meditation. There are many methods of meditation. People meditate in many ways. In fact, we are all meditating all the time. We are meditating on different things. Sometimes we meditate on our work. Sometimes we meditate on our body and see how good it looks. Sometimes we stare in the mirror to see do we look good or not. Sometimes we meditate upon our jobs, our relatives, our children, our parents, and our friends. We are meditating all the time, because meditating means thinking about something. If we think about the true self within us, it is called the real meditation, because meditation as a method to find your own self is just meditating. Instead of meditating on the world, start meditating on your own self. Instead of thinking all the time about outside things, start thinking about yourself inside. Who are you really? You know that you can't be the body. It's very short-lived, lives for a very short time, and it looks like maybe the senses go with the body. Over here it looks like the senses go with the body. We don't think they are separate. Though we did an exercise yesterday where people could see, they could touch, taste, smell things yesterday, which showed that the senses are not belonging to the body. But still we believe that only the sense perceptions that come through the physical body is the real thing. If you withdraw your consciousness, your awareness from this body, by putting your attention and concentrating it behind the eyes inside you, you discover that even if you become totally unaware of this body, the sense perceptions are still intact. Not only are they intact, they are heightened and they become stronger. Vision, what we can see with these eyes, is limited. With those eyes, without these eyes, is much stronger. And anybody can see them through meditation. So meditation is a great art. It's a great method, great science to follow and discover who you are. It does not require anybody's presence, because all you need is yourself and your own chamber of meditation, your own temple, your own church, your own synagogue, which is lying right on your head on this body. Don't have to go anywhere. It's all already available to you. So when you meditate inside this and believe you are inside, you are focusing your attention towards yourself. You are withdrawing attention towards yourself, which means that soon you discover that this body can be forgotten, can be made unaware. We can lose the awareness of the body just by concentrating attention there. And when that happens, you do not feel you have gone anywhere. You are more real at that time. You can see better, touch better, have all senses better. Then you realize that sense perceptions is also like a body. That what we see with and touch with and smell with, this is the body, inside this body. In fact, it overlaps this body. And all the time you can feel this. People do some healing through energy, and what they do is, they say laying hands, and when they bring their hands very near the other hand, the person feels, even with eyes closed, that there is something being healed or something is being done. That is because they are not touching this body, but they are touching the astral body. There are so many simple examples of people who are already practicing this without knowing that what is being affected, that the sense perceptions are actually being touched like that. Similarly, when we think maybe it's a brain activity, maybe it is only the use of the brain, If you look at the brain, and people have seen the brains cut out as grey matter, and you see its ugly shape, the rugged shape, almost like the fruit called walnut or something, and it's a brain like that. And what does it do? It's just an instrument. It's an instrument for consciousness to reside in it, to make it active, and then use all the things that are built into it, which life has built into it, which consciousness has built into it. And so we use the brain, we use the whole body like that. As I said yesterday, a seed is planted of an oak tree. It's so small. One can't believe if somebody says this oak tree seed contains the whole oak tree. It's so small. Oak tree is a big tree. How can that be? But you plant it, sprout it, it grows, ultimately it becomes that big oak tree. The whole oak tree, which is so big, is hidden in such a small seed. We have seen an example outside ourselves. If that is so, then the whole of the universe is lying in that seed which is like inside us. That seed can sprout and become large. It can become so large that you can see the whole universe that's ever been created. Because you are allowing the seed to grow inside. The space inside is a created space. Because we have this body, we start by thinking space inside is only a few inches. But when we sit there, the space expands. Our experience of space expands. Our experience of time changes. And we are able to sit there. Some people who are really interested in meditation and they go into that inner space, they spend hours and hours and think only a few minutes have passed. On the other hand, if you haven't any attractive thing going on inside, then a few minutes looks like hours because we are still sitting in the body. Meditation does not mean that this body undergoes any physical change. It does not mean that the body has to stop breathing or it has to change its style of breathing or the heartbeat has to change its beating. Nothing. All vital forces are maintaining the body. And the body remains alive because you are inside. But so long as you are having experiences from inside of levels which are beyond, they are beyond this world, beyond this body, but not outside. It's difficult to explain how you can make things inside. Some Greek philosophers at one time tried to explain. The Greek mathematicians, they tried to explain that you cannot say how so much can be put into so little, but then they used mathematics. They said, let us see, supposing you take a number 5, say this is the length of this cup, say 5, now keep on reducing the size. You can just come to 4, 3, 2, 1, at 1 the mind stops. But the mathematics goes on. It goes to -1, -2, -5. Where is -5? It's not outside, it's inside the zero. You can go to -1,000,000, it's inside the zero. -1,000,000,000, decillion, it's inside the zero. There's nothing outside. The moment it comes outside, it becomes plus. Mathematics is able to describe how zero can contain everything. That zero does not mean nothing. In Buddhist tradition, Buddha said that the real structure of this universe has been created from shunya, from zero. And he said that the shunya stage, which you can achieve through meditation, you will find that the creation took place from zero. And he said that nothing is not empty. Nothingness does not mean emptiness. Nothingness means everything is in it, but you can't see it. Nothing manifests as everything. And from nothing, everything can come. The Buddha himself explained that from nothing, from shunya, all is created. And at some time, all is taken back into the nothing. From nothing it comes, goes back to nothing. The modern version of that is what the scientists say, that the black hole contains everything. And once it explodes into a big bang, it creates everything and keeps on creating, unlimited. Therefore, the mind cannot understand how there can be anything below zero. Mind cannot understand how there can be anything inside nothing. But an actual experience can show you. The actual experience outside also shows it. If a black hole with no space at all in it can absorb entire universes, can absorb light itself, can absorb space itself, it can absorb everything that's created and still be intact with zero volume and zero, with all the mass intact. All the mass, all the weight is intact, and yet nothing is visible. If science is showing that, spirituality is showing that, where can we examine this and find out if it is true? Well, we can examine it by going within into the area of nothing. And from nothingness you will see everything came from there and went back into nothing. It's a personal experience that you can have. This is theoretical outside, it's a theoretical concept outside, but practical experience inside. Once you have that experience, it's impossible for you to explain to people. How did you find out everything inside nothing? Well, we did. The yogis in India who used to have this kind of practice, when they were asked, describe it, what was it like? And all they said, according to the literature, is neti, neti, not this, not this, not. They couldn't find anything to compare. All they could say, it was not this. They couldn't say what it is, because when we say what a thing is, we compare with something we already seen. And we have not seen that nothing can contain all this. Yet the area of sunya or shunya or zero exists inside us, and exists not too far. It's on the way to our home. There are two sunya. There is a sunya and there is a mahasunya, which means nothing and grand nothing. Well, we can't understand nothing. How can we understand grand nothing? There is a grander nothing. What does it mean, a grand nothing and a nothing? Nothing contains all that's created here. And grand nothing contains even the creators of all this. Even they disappear. And yet something else opens up which is bigger than these. It's going into like negative numbers, and the numbers keep on increasing. It's a whole new world. There was a great scientist, he's considered the successor of Einstein. He's poor fellow paralyzed, and he knew he's going to be paralyzed. And he, in his early time, predicted that people will understand the nature of time through science. And there is a brief commentary that he has made, and it is recorded, and it's called The History of Time. In that little book, there's a book written, and there's also a documentary. In that he explains that time as we know it, and he's following Einstein's opinions on science, that time as we know it varies at every point in this universe. It's not the same. Every point the time is different. Also he said that if somebody were to take a flight at half the speed of light, and he takes a flight for 5 minutes and comes back to his family, he'll find that his son died at the age of 65. It's taken 5 minutes. And if he says you go faster than that, what will happen? What will happen to your watches when you go faster? He says, if you attain the speed of light, and supposing you are going to a black hole, being drawn there to attain the speed of light, and he said this might happen one day, you have a watch, if it is slowing down, at 12 o'clock, it will stop at 12 o'clock. At all time it will be 12 o'clock. After that, it will start reversing. If you happen to go into a black hole, now these are the words of the scientist. If you go into the black hole, everything will be reversed, because time is being reversed. So maybe you'll be born old person and then die when you are a baby. I mean, he's given these examples. Then they say that something is happening in different dimensions. They are almost using similar language that the mystics used long ago, that there is more than one dimension. We are living in a very small slice of creation. They accept it, that we are living in a very small slice of creation, and that we can move from one dimension to another. How did they find this out? because they improved their method of measuring radioactivity, they improved their method of finding out wavelengths of energy moving in the space, which went way ahead of their own visual inspection of what is happening in the space. They found out some very interesting things, that if you look in the sky at night and see a star, an actual star, that star is not there at that time. That star was there more than a year ago, because light from the star took 1 year. It's 1 light year away. The nearest star is more than 1 light year away. That means what you're looking at is 1-year-old star. We don't know what has happened today. It may be there or not. When you go further, it is even further in time. Therefore, when you go to the edge of space, which now telescopes are showing us, we are seeing what happened billions of years ago. From that, they are able to now see what happened close to the Big Bang, just by going further in space, because space and time has become one now. And they are following Einsteinian theory. There is no such thing as an object. There is no such thing that you say, this is sitting here. No, it's sitting here for a certain time. So it's an event. He said there is no object. It's all events. You have to tie up the time with it. If you look at a cup, when was it made, how it was manufactured, the whole thing is right here in this cup. So he was talking so closely to some spiritual experiences which people have had. People with some practice of meditation have looked at a cup and seen exactly where it was before it came here. They can go back all the way to the glass being made, all the way to where it was manufactured and come here. The whole history of the cup can be seen with eyes by meditation. So when you see, that's what they are saying in physics now. That's what they are saying in science. It's amazing that with so much evidence around, our mind still wants to look outside for all these things. All these things can be examined better from inside. The only reason I find people don't go inside is that they close their eyes, it's darkness. Outside they can see some light. That's the only reason. And to pull the mind in, to pull your attention in, looks so difficult because the mind tries to fight it and tries to take us outside. Otherwise, all the answers to all the questions that you ever raise can be found inside. All answers. You can have any number of questions, they'll all be answered if you're doing meditation, going within. As if the answers are waiting for you. You will find a very interesting thing if you meditate. You will find that the questions you are asking because the answer is there. If the answer is not there, you can't make up the question. How will you put a question? Then you put a question to somebody, then the answer is waiting inside. You want somebody else to speak out the answer. When the person speaks out the answer, you say, that is it. Supposing he doesn't speak out the right answer, you say, no, I don't accept it. Well, you asked a question, somebody is giving an answer, you only accept that which is already there in you. That means the answer was already there. But this doesn't come to our knowledge till we go inside. Through meditation, you find out all these details of how the consciousness is operating, how it's operating on the physical plane, how it's operating on the sensory plane, how the mind is working, what the mechanics of it is, how it was created, what the basis of all this is. We don't have to speculate on any of these things because they are all visible to us when we withdraw our attention and go inside. So that is why I gave these few examples from science to tell you people are talking of dimensions and things according to the understanding of the old theory that energy and mass or matter, energy and matter in their totality are one. Either energy becomes matter or matter becomes energy, but the total remains one. It doesn't happen anymore now. They have seen it doesn't, the equation is not fitting by their own radioactivity being measured by Newman instruments. So what they've come up with now is there is something which we can't see, but just to make the equation equal, there is dark matter and dark energy. We put the dark matter and dark energy, and then now the equation is good. Have you seen where the dark matter is? No, that's why we call it dark. If we had seen it, we would call it matter. We can't see it. It doesn't look like matter, but behaves like matter. It's science. Science is telling us. So therefore, now they're balanced according to that. The entire known visible universe of that we are watching is less than 17% of what they have discovered by equations of radioactive measurements. Now you can imagine what kind of knowledge we are getting through science, that we are seeing very little. The other scientists are saying that things move from one dimension into another. They say, if an example given by a scientist on record says, if you go to a bar and order orange juice, and by mistake the bartender gives you a glass of cranberry juice, he says, in another dimension you have received orange juice. That there is no mistake in nature. He says, nature makes no mistakes. Therefore, a mistake happened because the correct thing happened in another dimension. This is not spirituality. This is not metaphysics. This is physics. These are physics people talking like this. And they say that we can move from one dimension to another. Sometimes we do all the time and we don't know when we move there. They are even examining today whether dreams are a real place somewhere. That when we dream, we are going into another dimension and seeing that world, and that not is just a fantasy in our own head. This concept came because people began to dream of things which they had never seen here, of which there is no equivalent here. In meditation, of course, people were seeing a lot of things of which there was no equivalent here at all. So people say that the suggestive power of the mind, if you make an auto-suggestion to see something, it has to correspond to what you have already seen, or the elements of it must be that which were combined in a new combination, but the elements must be those which you have seen. In dreams, people have seen things which have no combination at all, like this. In meditation, they have seen no combination at all. Therefore, they feel that those combinations are lying in another dimension. And you slip into another dimension when you are in a dream. You slip into another dimension when you are in a deep meditation. There is an institute in Zurich where they have studied the functioning of the brain and the mind, and they calculate the alpha waves and theta waves and so on to see in different states of meditation how do the wave motions in the brain itself work. And they have found such a big change in the wave motion depending upon what your state of consciousness is. So they are linking that there are so many things which we have not understood so far. It's just touched the tip of the iceberg, and we are going to research more. This is unexpected in Newton's time that you could be researching these things. But Einsteinian physics made a big change, and today there is even more change coming up where they found that Einstein was wrong in saying that nothing moves faster than light. He said nothing moves greater than the velocity of light. They have by observation found that when a black hole pulls everything, it whirls around in a cyclical way, and at that time the velocity of everything that's moving in is greater than velocity of light. So Einstein is dead. Poor fellow might be moving in his grave, that my whole big theory has gone wrong. But physics is proving, Einstein predicted there could be a place in the universe where everything travels faster than light. But that is an inverse universe, an opposite universe, not this. But look at what is happening. I am just illustrating how science is discovering things in front of our eyes, outside. Things that have been mentioned by mystics and by saints long ago. They mentioned these things in the scriptures, you can read them. There is great description of what is lying inside and what is a projection of that outside. When you go inside, you will find that what is being seen outside is a projection. That it is being projected, it's just like a cinema projector. That the film is inside. The light is the light of your own consciousness, the light of your soul. The mind carries a film of the DVD I mentioned, and through that light of consciousness it comes out and falls on a multi-dimensional screen. Physics has accepted 11 dimensions, maybe there are more. Today they have said to explain all the radioactive activity, there has to be at least 11 dimensions. At one time they believed that the Big Bang created an expanding universe. Big theory. I used to go to college used to teach us in physics, this is an expanding universe. I used to boast to people, we are all expanding, becoming bigger and bigger all the time. But since the room is also becoming bigger, we are all becoming bigger. Therefore, we don't notice the difference because all we are enlarging at the same time in an expanding universe. Where did I learn that? In the classroom, in physics, that this expanding universe, starting with a Big Bang. Then came knowledge that light measures the distance, how far you are. In those days, the light from the sun took 8.5 minutes to reach the earth. Today also it's reaching 8.5 minutes. In what way are we expanding? How, once we say the light, velocity of light is totally fixed at 180,000 miles per second and has never changed and has strange features about it. The strange features being that relative to anything else, it's always the same velocity also. For example, if a car is moving at 40 miles an hour on a road, another one passes you at 60 miles an hour, you won't feel it is 60, you'll feel it's 20 because you're also moving at 40 miles an hour. And the car is moving a little faster, so you see only the difference. If it's moving at, you are going 40, it's going at 42, very slowly it will pass you. There will be difference. But when a light source passes another light source, the difference in their speed, no matter in what way they are going, is always the velocity of light. Nobody has been able to explain how that happened. This led to Einstein to believe that light was the only reality. Everything else was relative to that. He created the whole concept that everything was relative to that. Today, of course, it's gone because we saw that the light from the sun to the earth is still taking the same what it took 40 years ago, what it took a million years ago. It never changed. They came up with a new theory, a new physics theory, that there is a membrane that prevents expansion. And now the membrane theory is the latest theory. After string theory, the new is the membrane theory. There's a membrane that is covering small universes like our galaxy, a membrane that converts the solar system. They don't allow the expansion to take place. So we are tied up and outside is expanding, because when we look at the other galaxies and other suns, they are receding from each other. They are all receding. Now when we say, where are they receding from? There should be a central point from where they are receding. That's very interesting thing in science, that if everything is expanding, where is the center of this expansion? They found every spot they measure from is the center of that expansion. The new theory is that the center of expansion itself is expanding. That every point in the universe is the center of the universe. Does the mind understand? No. Even physics is now going beyond the mind. Spirituality was already beyond the mind. Now physics is going beyond the mind. I'm just bringing these little facts to your notice to show how our mind is so limited in being able to absorb this kind of knowledge. But the soul is not limited. Your consciousness is not limited at all and can absorb all this knowledge, not only absorb, experience it. But you cannot explain because you use the mind to explain. But the knowledge can be your own. So don't think that meditation is merely for getting some calmness and some better way of looking at the world or getting less angry or something. Those are good things. I call them fringe benefits, just the side benefits of meditation. The real thing is to get such knowledge that you cannot get anywhere else. Such knowledge of everything is not knowledge of one little thing or this, knowledge of everything. That's all lying inside us, and we can access that. So meditation, to go to the highest stage, is a slow process. I acknowledge that. People take several lifetimes to go to the highest place. But we don't know, most of you who are sitting here at this time have done a lot of work in the past. You are already prepared. Some of you may think we are newcomers to this. No, you couldn't be newcomers. You have to have some background in the past to be able to come here and to say, now we want to proceed from here. Memory is very short. Memory is such a strange thing. When I said that there's a DVD that we pick up, you know what we pick up? A memory capsule. That's called DVD. It's nothing but memory. We just plant the memory in our own self, in the astral plane. We carry that memory with us in this physical body. We carry that capsule and it's just playing out automatically. We are reliving what's already been planted. So that's why it's so fixed. We think we can change this. You have to go there. You can change it, change the capsule, but not here. You can't do it here. You think you can. People have tested out, okay, I am going to change all my plans. But then they go and see the memory capsule said, I will change all my plans. So you're acting strictly according to your memory. But it gives you the feeling, your free will right here. It's a very interesting game, that to give you real feeling of real free will, then it's all already in the capsule. A capsule can be changed, but not while we are here. Go into meditation, you can change anything. You can change the whole world, you can change your whole experience, you can go to another world altogether. It's in your hands, because it's from there that you picked up your own memory. And somebody says, I made my destiny. Yes, not here. You made the destiny when you picked up that memory capsule. You are reliving a memory. As I explained, time is not really a reality. It's a laid out platform. It's a little rubber band stretched out, and then things have been put on it. The events have been put on it. And you're just traveling. Sometimes you stretch it, sometimes you make it longer, but it's already there. Everything is already there. And you're moving on it. That's called time travel. We are time traveling at a certain pace. The Egyptians were successful in changing their pace to another pace, and they could go faster than somebody. They could go 1,000 years faster. They see the same thing and come back. That is called time travel. There are universes created right today which you can visit through meditation, where this time travel is normal. People move at different times. The control at what speed they are going on time is just like the speed at which we move on space. We have a car, we are driving a car, 40 miles, somebody can drive at 60. In that universe, which you can visit, in that universe, you'll see somebody says, I want to go faster, he goes 10 years ahead of you. And then you can catch up if you go faster. But he's not going to the events of 10 years later as you are going to the current events in the same relationship. It's a very, very vast and very varied universe. We are living in a very small fraction of what has been created. But since the creation is experienced through us, through our consciousness, by meditation, we can go and experience all those things. We can even examine this universe. We can go and travel at very high speeds. Our speed is very slow on this planet, in this little solar system, in this galaxy. It's a very slow speed because of the gravity of the planet. Our bodies are subject to gravity and we can't move. You go to the next step and there's no gravity. You fly wherever you like. You go 2 steps higher, you move at the velocity of the thought of a mind. You think of this thing, you think of another. Right now, when you use your mind and want to think of 2 places, here and there may be as far as possible, you travel in your thought. There you actually travel at the same speed in the causal plane. There are experiences such as so great. I'm trying to just, in a way, it's a sort of inducement for you. They don't think that it's only a boring exercise to do meditation. There are too many surprises, pleasant surprises waiting for you inside. So remember, our journey does not end in these experiences. These are just different experiences. At the end, the soul is not satisfied with these. The soul is not satisfied with this experience. Soul is not satisfied with the astral or causal experiences. The soul is yearning to go back home, to its own totality, to its own real home. And for that, we have to cross all these regions of the mind. All I'm describing is all mental game in mental regions, the 3 regions of the physical, the sensory, and the mental. All these are subject to the mind, subject to time, subject to call, the regions of call. But our true home starts beyond these. Great master used to say, my path starts from Parbrahm and goes to Sachkhand. He says, my path starts from where we realize we are a soul and goes to the point where we think we are all one. That was his path. He said the rest is all all a travel through another alien space. It's traveling through foreign country. This is a foreign country. This is a foreign place. These two levels above is a foreign place. Our true home is beyond that. So perfect living masters do not say that spend too much time in these. Of course, a very curious person would like to see. I am by nature a very curious person, I must confess to you. But a curious person would like to see what all is going on and verify everything at every step. But the true home which we belong to, where we want to go, is beyond the mind. And the way to go there is love and devotion, because thoughts, repetitions, language don't work there. No Simran works there, no mantra works there, because there is no space and time to make it work. There is no such thing as what we are seeing here. It's something beyond the mind. It's something sometimes we get conscious of. Some people say we get conscious there is such a thing. We feel, but we can't explain what it is. That's exactly what it is. There is something that you feel that is yearning inside you, that there is a sort of loneliness inside us. Where does that loneliness come from? It's interesting how we can be amongst a crowd of people. How can we have hundreds of relationships and still feeling lonely inside? As if the relationships here are artificial, that they are not real, they are skin deep. They don't go into our soul. Till we meet a perfect living master and spend time, then we begin to feel now there's a relationship with our soul and not outside. Otherwise, we are yearning for something more all the time. And that's the yearning of the soul, wanting to go back home to its true home. So, when the time is right, what does that mean? When the time is right, it means when you have done enough with this adventure. In this adventure land, which we call this physical universe and the astral universe, when we have done enough adventure and we say we have had enough, you want to go home, then you are ready, then you are a seeker. A master will come into your life at that time. And a master will take responsibility for you when you have that state of readiness. You can say, I am fed up of what is happening here. But unless you are really feeling, this is not my place, I have seen it, then you are not ready yet. Because you are still enjoying things here, you want to enjoy more. And why not? If somebody is come here to have a good time, have it. But bad time is also sometimes combined with it. That's the trouble here, that good times are combined with bad times here. And the very things that create good things become this cause of bad things. Imagine a little baby is born in the house. We celebrate so much. Little baby, new bundle of joy has come, and everybody is kissing the baby and feeling so great. And the baby grows up and becomes a big boy, and what a naughty boy it turns out. And he turns out to be a rascal. He is not the kind of baby we expected. But it is the same baby. It's the same baby who was all a bundle of joy, now becomes so much trouble for us. Same thing with other things. We fall in love, people come to me, say, oh, this girl and I, the man says this girl and I, a girl says this man and I, we are our soulmates. We have fallen in love with us instantly. And after 3 months they come, we are on a divorce course. We are divorcing. I said, what happened to the soulmates? No, do you know what they say then? On the day one when they meet me, they say we are soulmates and we are loving each other like soulmates. After 3 months they say, we knew from the beginning we were not made for each other. It's amazing. But the same thing which is source of joy for us, the same becomes the cause of sorrow for us. So this is a kind of world we live in, where all these things happen in a very strange way, that we come for good things and we take up the bad with it, which is necessary to be here. From another point of view, it's not a bad thing that they both happen. We had an American disciple of this great master. He wrote books also which are well known. His name was Dr. Julian Johnson. I was present when he came to India and I saw him, and we became friends and we used to take a walk together and talk about spirituality. In the beginning when he came, he began to ask Master, my friend is sick there, can you please help him? And Master would say, okay, I'll I'll talk my master and he'll give grace and help you. Then he would say, if somebody else is wanting this little help from you, master, in America, master would say yes. After a few months, he told me, what am I asking for? If I ask that everybody should be in good state, they'll all go to heaven and not have a chance to see a master. The only way to see a master is to have a combination of events, good and bad, to be human, and then you meet a master. Then you have a chance to go beyond all this. So he said, I'm never going to ask anything like that again. I'll only ask for his grace. When grace came, of course, he meditated a lot. There was a river Byas next to the Dera where we all stayed and meditated. And there he found that some of the sadhus there, some of the other holy people who wanted to follow master teaching, were used to building little small caves for themselves. And those caves, they got into the cave, it was very quiet, silent, and they could hear the sounds very clearly from inside. They could have concentration better, so he used the cave. So Julian Johnson dug his own cave, and he went in, but he made a little more modern cave, so a little better, and he put a door, wooden door outside, and it's a very beautiful cave in order to meditate. In fact, I also went into that cave and meditated while he was still there. And I said, I like to see. It was a very beautiful experience to be in that cave, cool, nice and cool, in hot weather. When he used to go and meditate for 8 hours, 10 hours at a time, he did get a lot of results because he began to enjoy his meditation pretty early on. And then he was able to see all his past lives. And with great master's permission, he was able to share that with a few people, including me. And he shared what he had done right up to a caveman and even earlier. And what deeds he had done. He once was throwing his child into the well. He was trying to throw this thing, do this, all those came up. And I said, do you think it's a good thing to know all past lives? He says, not really. Because if we find out what we did, which led to our current karma, we are not trained to think it's a movie, it's in the past. We start thinking we did it, and the guilt overwhelms us. Guilt is a very big problem. When we find we've done something wrong, the guilt overtakes us to such an extent we start living in the past, into guilt. Guilt is not good for meditation. Guilt is not good for a spiritual life. What has happened has happened. Now we have to move on. But he said, unless you are at that higher level, where you can see the whole thing as a play, as a setup, you should not go look into your past lives. But he was able to give a lot of information. There was a relative of mine who, this Julian Johnson, I tell you a little bit about Julian Johnson because he was a good friend and a very good seeker, very good disciple of great master. There are 2 or 3 disciples like that. One was Dr. Ishwar Singh, a veterinary guy. There was this Julian Johnson. I loved their life and their stories. So I'll share a few with you. Today I'll tell you about Julian Johnson because it will give you a new angle to how masters act. Julian Johnson was a missionary in the United States. He was converting people to Christian faith. And missionaries came to India to do the same work. He came as a missionary in Calcutta in West Bengal, the eastern part of India, to convert people, give sermons, teach the Bible, do Bible courses, and that's what he went to India for. Then he heard from 2 people in the United States who were following the teachings of great master that you must go and meet this saint, this master, because he's a perfect living master, and the experience you will have there, you may not have never had in any church or anywhere else. So curious to know that, he decided to come. So he wrote to the master from Calcutta, I want to come and see you. Master wrote back, okay, you come. There's a direct train. There were no plane services. There's a direct train from Calcutta to Punjab, but it stops 25 miles short of the Dera where I am, or it goes on to 25 miles ahead. It stops in Jalandhar, which comes earlier, or it goes on to Amritsar, which is further away. You can get off in one of these places, we'll pick you up. It's better to get down in Jalandhar, which comes first. And there is an attorney, disciple of mine. He is a lawyer and he lives just next to the railway station, and I will ask him to pick you up from the railway station and bring him to the Dera so you can see me. He was very happy. After he got the letter and Julian Johnson was on the train, the great master says to the attorney, to that lawyer, he says, let's play a game. Now, you see, most people here may not think that saints and mystics do that. That they can be a little mischievous, that he could say, let's play a game. He said, let's play a game with this new doctor who's coming. I'll go to Jalandhar and hide in your house. When he comes and gets out from the plane, you say, Dr. Johnson, you are very tired, you have had a long journey, let's go home and have some cup of tea and then I'll take you. He'll say, no, I've not come for tea. Let's go straight away. Then you keep on persuading, he'll get angry with you. Why you are insisting on tea and not take him directly to the master? So, when he will do that, you bring him home. I'll hide behind. And then you bring him in, I'll bring him a surprise. And that's what happened. When Julian Johnson landed at the station, he was received by this lawyer, his name was Bhagat Singh. And Bhagat Singh said, you are tired after a long journey, let's go home and have tea. He said, no, I've not come for tea, I've come for the master. I can't wait. No, it's too long a journey, I'll just take you. So Julian Johnson got angry. He got irritated that I have not come for having tea at this guy's house. But he took him home. He said, Dr. Johnson, I have a surprise for you. I took him inside the living room, and there was great master sitting there. And he said, Master, you come here to see me? He says, I have just only come 25 miles. You came thousands of miles to come and see me. Inside, it will be the reverse. If somebody comes 1 mile to see me, I'll walk 10 miles to see that person. Inside, if somebody comes 1 step, master takes 10 steps to meet them. He was very puzzled by the fact that he got a surprise. He forgot his questions, he forgot what he came for. He sat down there and he wrote a letter that night to his friends in the United States that what I've got by just being with this person for a couple of hours sitting next to him, if I get nothing more, I'll be satisfied. Of course, he became a very good disciple, did a lot of meditation, had immense experiences, and there was a uncle of my wife who had a photographic shop in Kashmir, in Srinagar, and Julian Johnson took Great Master into Kashmir to get a picture taken. He said, I want a good studio photograph of yours I can send to my friends in the United States. So they found out that that particular studio is a great studio, they take good pictures, and it was on a river bank, and there was an upper level where the store was selling cameras and so on, and lower level open on the other side, on the road side, top level open on the river side. The road side was the studio. So this Dr. Johnson, American guy, goes in there and he says, I want to get a picture taken of some friend of mine. They said, okay. That uncle's assistant was named Mr. Bawa. He said, Bawa, take the picture. He must have brought some Kashmiri girl or some in a particular dress. He wants to take the picture. So master's picture was taken there. When he came to collect the pictures, then that uncle said, let me see what they look like. And he saw an old white bearded man. He said, you wasted your money on getting a picture of an old man here? I thought you brought some beautiful girl to take a picture. He said, no, you don't know, he is my master. He said, there are no masters. They are all fake people. They deceive you. And what have you done? He says, no, this is a real master. He says, that's what they all call themselves, real masters. So you've been misled. You should not waste time on these things. Aren't you an educated person to know this? What is your profession? I'm a medical doctor. I'm a surgeon, I am this. With so much education, how can you be deceived by an old man and call him master and run after him? He says, well, he's a master. He says, what do you do in medicine? He says, I do treatments of people. I live in the Dera. Master has given me a small place to live in. He says, I have a back, I suffer from a back injury for a long time. Can you help me? He said, yes, I can help you. You come to the Dera, I'll give you treatment. So this uncle goes to the Dera to get treatment for his back. And Julian Johnson gives him the treatment. And he's lost. He says, I can't believe you run to see a man and say, I'm having darshan. What is this business? Just to look at a man means darshan? What good is that, just to look at a person? Then he said, oh, I'm going to satsang now. What is satsang? He says, it's company of the master. We'll listen to him. He said, how can you be wasting time? Does he know anything, this old man? He says, yes, he does. You write all your questions, he will answer them. He said, okay, I'm going to write the questions. So he wrote about 10 questions. And he said, Julian Johnson, you tell me first what the answers are. Then I will go and talk to your master. So Julian Johnson wrote, he said, look, I'll give you the answers, but let's walk. I'm going for darshan, I don't have time. And then there will be a satsang after that. So Julian Johnson and the uncle walked, and Julian Johnson said, read out the questions. So he read the question 1, 2, 3, 4. He read 10 questions. By that time they reached the satsang. They reached the discourse. Master gave a discourse. And the uncle said, he knows something. He answered half my questions. I didn't even tell him what the questions are. How could he know what my questions are? He said, come once more, he'll answer the other rest of them. So he went second time. To cut a long story short, he got initiated, said, I am going to live here. His whole family got very upset. What's happened to this man? I know he goes to these saints and gets caught up there. So therefore, they said, sent another man who happened to be my father-in-law. He was the second, that was my wife's uncle, this is my father-in-law. He sent him, he got caught trapped also. So everybody one by one got trapped there. They said, what kind of prison house is that? Everybody gets trapped. But that uncle kept on living with Julian Johnson. One day Julian Johnson comes to him and says, I am very happy, I am going home. And my uncle says, are you going back to the United States? No, I am going home. He said, don't tell me you're going to die. He said, no, nobody dies. We just go home. That's the advantage. We got initiated. We'll go home. He said, Master gave me permission today. I can go next week. He says, what kind of talk is this? He says, I know because I've seen it. How I will go. I'll be sitting here. A man from the US embassy in Lahore will come here and he'll hit me. And I'll fall. My head will hit this place, this hard surface. And I'll get a hemorrhage and I'll die. I'll be very happy. I'll leave the body and go. He said, I can't believe a man in his senses, a doctor, a surgeon, talking like this. But that's precisely how he died. He told 7 days earlier that that's how he'll die. He was very happy. And he died very happily. He says, this is very temporary experience we are having here. This is the story of Julian Johnson. There are a couple of other satsangis who had such amazing experiences. And since I knew them personally, I am telling what I saw and heard from these people. But they were beautiful disciples. They did their homework. They did meditation. So I am going to share some more experiences with you tomorrow. I want to start with the interviews today because I want to give as much time as possible to people who want to have one-on-one interview. They have some personal questions, and if you haven't given your name, you can give your name, and I'll try to accommodate everybody who's asked for. But we'll have to make it short, just to accommodate everybody. Don't mind that I wish I could spend all the time with individuals, but time being what it is, and we are trapped by time. This is called working our time. So we have to work within the limits of what is available to us here. I'll be very happy to see you tomorrow again at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much.